All right, you guys, so it's been a while since we talked about Bend Over Azoulay, and since then, he has been doing a lot, per usual. His fight videos were exposed where he was sparring against somebody and he just looked absolutely terrible. And we didn't cover that because at that time I was out of town, it was my birthday, but he has also done several podcasts. One of them was on the Digital Social Hour podcast, the one that he's done before, but this time it was a debate against him and 10 other people, and it was titled One Jew versus 10 Pro-Palestinian Activists. Really? That's what you decided to come up with? You couldn't go with racist, dumbass perhaps. But anyways, when he was on that podcast, he got absolutely roasted by everybody. By one girl in particular, he got so pissed off at her because she made him look absolutely like an idiot, basically. He was so mad at her for this that he finally broke down and told her that she shouldn't be there, that she should be at home with her husband and not on a podcast with some douchebag. He was calling himself a douchebag.
My fact is that your husband should have probably kept you home. You shouldn't have came here. That's all.
That doesn't make it not an insult as well.
It's
and
not
what's
an insult.
Different here is that the whole time...
if you have children, you should be with your children. You shouldn't be talking to some douchebag.
Sure, I agree you're a douchebag.
I am a douchebag. What do you need to sit here and talk to me?
The issue
that podcast, like I said, was a debate, and they had 3 prompts. One of them was about feminism. The second one was about Israel or something. And then the third one was mental health doesn't exist. And it's just such an idiotic take, which is why it was so easy for her to make him look so stupid. Because how are you going to say that you have mentored about 15,000 men, then also say that mental health doesn't exist? Because as we know, men are 4 or 5 times more likely to commit suicide. And so anyways, he met several people on that podcast, like the girl I just mentioned, as well as this guy. His name is Van Miller something, I think, and he has his own podcast. So Azoulay went on his podcast next for an interview, and he of course said a bunch of stupid shit in this podcast, which we'll get into in just a second. But he also said at one point in his life he was so how are you going to say that mental health doesn't exist, yet at one point you were legitimately suicidal?
I was driving down with my business partner and I go, bro, I think I don't want to live anymore. The only thing that's keeping me around is my son. But I'm living in a home with someone that is a monster. I don't know how to leave her. And I don't want her to take away my son, but I have to get back to my ex-girlfriend. If I don't get back to her, I think I have no reason to stay here on the planet.
It's he just makes up shit. He just pulls shit out of his ass and it just never makes any sense. But onto this recent podcast that he did with this Van Miller guy, his conviction got brought up again, which as we know, if you've been following the story, he has talked about this several times, this whole situation where he pled guilty to gang being a 15-year-old girl with his brother and his friend. And he always does this thing where he tries to confuse the civil case and the criminal case, and he purposefully muddies the water so that people assume that the conviction was overthrown or dismissed just because the civil case was dismissed, but the criminal case wasn't. They are 2 separate cases, and he does a really good job of confusing people. He's banking on the fact that people won't do their research and won't look this up. So this guy that's interviewing him, I believe has been fooled by him. So respectfully, I'm not going to go after this guy, even though I do think it's your responsibility to do your research on people that you're interviewing prior to interviewing them. I think that's his responsibility to do that. But maybe I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And maybe, he looked up these charges and maybe he saw Azoulay talking about it and he believed him. So that's why I think it's really important for us to watch these interviews and call out Azoulay's lies when we see them. A lot of people believe that, we should just ignore him. But now Azoulay is trying to position himself as some sort of Jewish defender or a mentor of sorts. And if you notice, when people stop making videos on him, he starts getting away with his lies. And you can see that in the comment section, because his comments will be full of people just joking around with him, saying positive things. And when we make videos on him again and start calling out his lies, his comment section then is full of people talking about this conviction and talking about the charges, saying she was 15, things like this. So I personally think it's really important for us to keep this conversation going so that people like this interviewer are not fooled by him. So personally, like I said, I'm not going to go after this guy. I think he's just a victim of ignorance. And there's no better example of that than this clip I'm going to show you right here, because he is explaining this situation to the interviewer and he's saying that it's all these blue-haired feminists that are accusing him because they're mad that he's such a masculine man. And this is not true whatsoever. whatsoever. It's not just feminists going after him. It's not just liberals. It's actually, in fact, it's everyone. Everyone is going after him because this isn't a right versus left issue. This is a human issue. This is a rapist issue, okay? So I want you to see how he tries to frame this and how good he is at almost like brainwashing people or framing this in a way where he's almost the victim. Like all these people are going after him for no reason.
I could get almost any girl to come hang out with me and be on video just to say that she was with me. But my actual woman, you will never see on video anymore. Because when I did have my ex-wife on video, everybody was attacking her.
Attacking her, wow.
Yeah, death threats daily.
Wow.
Threats daily.
Why? Because they weren't happy with what she was saying or
Yes.
the company or whatever?
No, with what I was saying.
So because she was on camera with you and they didn't like what you're saying, they attacked her.
No, when she was on camera with me, she was just me and her walking, or me and her taking a photo together, or me and her making the king shot, which was a special juice shot. I was teaching people what to drink in order to get lean. There's little things. We're doing a video, whatever, me and her giving each other a kiss. But because I would tag her, then they try to go after my weak points.
And what kind of stuff would they say to her?
Threats, death threats.
Why though? I don't get it.
Because she's with me.
Because they don't like the kind of man you are?
Yes.
Because
So
are
the-
these like liberal type individuals that
Yeah.
don't like the fact that you're a masculine man?
Yes.
They don't, wow.
So all day
interesting.
they make up stories about me.
And they probably like insulting her, saying that she's kind of like betraying women, whatever, by
Yes.
being.
So she needs to die, and they're coming to kill her. Oh, by the way, also because I'm Israeli and Jewish.
Okay.
So that was a huge thing after October 7th.
See, so he's saying all these things like, oh, they're coming after me because of this, because they don't like me and my wife, because they think because I'm Jewish, all this stuff. But he never says, oh, it's because I pled guilty to gang raping a 15-year-old girl. He never mentions any of that. So this is why I'm saying he's really good. And if we allow him, he will keep getting away with these lies. We have to call this shit out at every turn, because then men like this, men like the guy in the hat, will believe him. They're more likely to believe him because there's nobody exposing this, nobody calling him out. So now he's going to take this one step further. And like I said, he's positioning himself as some sort of Jewish defender. And he's saying like, people hate me that I'm a Jew, that even Hamas was after me. Even Hamas had a hit out on me. What is he talking about? Hamas doesn't give two shits about you, dude. I wish they did. I truly wish they did.
So people were just trying to kill me left and right. Hamas had a hit on me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hamas put like $1 million on my head
Wow, dude.
at the time.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like when you are a strong voice, it is crazy what people will do to shut you down.
So even this guy doesn't believe him. Like even this guy is laughing. So why aren't you giving this guy any pushback? Why are you glazing him? I just don't get it. Okay, so now he's going to start talking about what happened when he was 18 years old. And like I said before, he's talked about this many times. And every single time he tells this story, the story changes. Either he adds something, he takes away something, he changes the narrative to like she was, on drugs and struggling. She was a known liar. By the way, this girl was a virgin. Everyone at her school claimed that she was a very good girl. She was a cheerleader. She wasn't like this crazy party girl, okay? So let's hear what he has to say.
When I was 18, a woman her family said that she got raped at my house by me, my brother, my friend,
Wow.
all of that. When they came and they asked us what happened, I said exactly what happened. I said, it was my birthday. We had some girls over. She was one of the girls. 3 of the girls wanted to give me head. I agreed. I was fine. And when they came in the morning and they talked to me and I told them this, they go, yeah, but she was underage. She was 15.
Wow.
She was about to turn 16. But she told us she was a freshman in college.
That's a lie. I think in this video, it's been a while, so I think we should pull up these documents again in just a second. He's saying that he didn't know she was 15. We're going to read these documents because it's been a minute and I think we need to refresh our memories. Also, in this new version of events, he's saying that he got head from 3 girls when the last time he explained this, he said that he was the only person there over 18 years old. He said that everyone at that party were minors. So even in this variation, it's still a crime.
So I battled it almost all the way to trial saying I didn't know her age. That's not fair because her friends were over 18. So that's not fair. And her friends came against her and she didn't want to come to court. So she bailed. She was like, no, nothing happened there. She didn't even say that I did anything with her, but it was her parents and they sued us for $51 million. They didn't just sue us. They sued her girlfriends, her girlfriend's parents, everybody.
Wow.
Come to find out, her psychiatrist brought out paperwork that she was addicted to ecstasy, marijuana, and alcohol for a year and a half before she met us. So from the time that she was 14.
And I don't even believe that's true. That would be a HIPAA violation. But even if it were, who cares? And just because she was doing ecstasy, that means it's her fault? Or like she wanted it? What do you mean by this? Who cares?
She was addicted to these drugs. She was going out to see older boys at night, meeting them, sleeping with them.
No, she was a virgin.
Her parents wanted to put her in boarding school, which they tried to make us pay for it and saying, oh, we're sending her to boarding school because she didn't want to cooperate with them. So they send her to boarding school and try to make us pay for it. It was like $100,000. So the parent of her girlfriend, forgot his name, but he was a big lawyer and they didn't know. They sued him. He goes, okay, let's get all of her documents, all of her records from the doctor. She had a psychologist, a psychiatrist. The parents were seeing a psychologist to speak between them, to explain to them how to raise that daughter. She was fighting at school. She was beating up kids.
The parents weren't together, right?
No, they were together.
They were together, okay.
Yeah, but they were older couple. Very old.
And?
I don't know how they had her.
Wow.
But they were very old. And she would blackmail them by saying, I'm going to commit suicide or I got raped, leave me alone.
That's not what blackmail is.
That was like her go-to thing, to just make them leave her alone because she wanted to party. So they sent her to boarding school. When they tried to sue us to pay for boarding school, the father of her best friend pretty much was a lawyer and he had them bring all the documents, all the things that she's been through. And then they saw that they were speaking to the psychologist about putting her into boarding school into Copper Canyon before this incident.
It's all premeditated to force you through false accusations
Yes.
to basically take your money, more or less.
Yes.
Wow.
They said that my brother raped her. My brother was 14. My brother was 14. How can you say that he raped her?
And you realize that there are like weirdos that rape the elderly, right? Like it doesn't matter if you're younger. Young people rape people that are older than them all the time. What's the point of him saying that he was 14? That means he can't rape her? What? Okay, so anyways, now he's going to start talking about John Bravo. He's like saying, oh, then there was this guy who brought out these false allegations and that's what these YouTubers do. They just talk shit about big influencers. It's like, no, we don't. We talk shit about scumbags. We talk shit about losers, rapists, men who beat their wives and girlfriends. We don't just talk about people for no reason.
So anyways, there's this guy online who brought out a year ago the lawsuit. So the lawsuit itself was done after the criminal case. And in the lawsuit, the parents said these crazy things that me and my brother dragged her from room to room and all of these crazy stuff, crazy allegations. But when the court went on, they asked for the criminal charges and they saw that in the criminal, none of this was ever said. So the $51 million, there was no settlement, nothing. It all got dismissed. The case got completely dismissed.
No, the criminal case did not get dismissed. This is what he does. He tries to say like, oh, it got dismissed. No, you were still criminally charged and pled guilty.
But there's some guys on social media that this is what they do. They talk really badly about big influencers. So they call me a pedophile and a rapist and all of those things. So a year ago, she started getting messages of, we're going to come rape you because you're with a rapist, you're with the Israeli.
Wow.
By the way, she's Israeli too, but I guess they're saying that Israel is some pedophilia state and that anyone who supports Israel is a pedophile. That's what they're saying online. Now, what I just said will be taken out of context as well, where they'll pretend that I said that it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They take things out of context and they just post it like that. Look at what he said.
Yeah.
And nobody on social media goes to search the whole thing.
Yeah, like the guy you're talking to right now.
They just see a line. So this, whatever me and you are having here, will be clipped up by bad people and will be everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
So for quite some time, people were like calling me a pedophile and a child and a sex offender. And if I were any of these things, I would be on the sex offender list.
Yeah.
No, because he took a deal. He took a deal. Therefore, he's not on the list. What do you mean? Like the guy he's talking to, I think is obviously not very smart because he just pulled up all the videos that we make talking about the situation. Obviously, he hasn't watched them. Otherwise, he would know better.
So I even showed them I'm not on the sex offender list. I showed them that the case got dismissed, that at the time I only got what I said that I got. I said, I got a blowjob. I didn't lie. I don't believe in lying. Lying is fearing. I don't fear nobody. I said exactly what happened. This is what happened. I got a BJ. By saying that, they told me, well, not knowing doesn't pull you away from the crime. So I was fighting it and I was about to go to trial. And then my lawyer said, listen, you told them if you were to keep your mouth shut, the girl kept her mouth shut. She didn't say that you did anything. So if you were to keep your mouth shut, we would have been dismissed here. Unfortunately, you spoke. I said, what am I not going to tell him the truth?
Yeah.
I say the truth. I'm not afraid. So he said, okay, so you're going to have to take a plea deal now, which means not a lesser charge. It just means, you can look it up, it just means that I'm willing to accept what they're giving me.
And that's why you're not on the registry.
Instead of going to trial, because in trial they're going to say, well, you said it. So why go to trial and spend another 40, 50K with the lawyer?
Yeah.
Anyways, you're going to get that charge because you said it. So because you said it, it's too bad. You can't go back on it. So I said, fine, I'll take the plea deal. Because I was trying to fight it saying, I didn't know the age. That's not fair. So what if I told you guys the truth? But he said, not knowing the age will not pull you away from the crime. Not knowing is not knowing. It doesn't matter. I said, but she lied. She said she was a freshman in college. So that whole thing unfolded with the civil lawsuit. But the civil lawsuit was dismissed because everything they said there was a lie.
It wasn't dismissed because everything she said was a lie. It was dismissed because she didn't show up. Dude, this guy, that's why, I truly want to give the interviewer the benefit of the doubt and just say, maybe he's just dumb or not paying attention or believes this shit. But, all the evidence is there. The story is there. He just pulled up so many videos where in those videos, if you were to watch them, it explains everything. And it shows that, no, it didn't get dismissed because everything was a lie. It got dismissed because she didn't show up. Because I would assume, like many women out there, that they don't want to face their abusers ever again. This is very common. And laugh at it all you want, but it is true that women, when they're assaulted, when they're abused, anything like that, they do not want to go to court to face their abusers. It's very traumatizing. It brings up all those emotions, memories, feelings all over again. So I could completely understand why she wouldn't want to show up and face this guy. Okay, so I'm fast forwarding just a little bit. Here he is going to go on to threaten John Bravo, saying that they're going to take care of a little bit differently. And he's also bringing up the fact that this case has been sealed. Okay, so the only people who have access to any of the documents are him and the victim. Now, he is saying that he went to go get the documents so that he could prove to everybody that he's innocent. And he said that when he went there, they said that they threw everything away. And I found this very convenient, you could say, and also hard to believe. So I looked this up, if this is something that courthouses do, if they just throw away documents to a criminal case. And it says no. Some records, especially serious felony cases, may be kept for decades or even permanently. Also, sealed or expunged does not necessarily mean physically destroyed. A record can become unavailable to the general public while still being retained by the court or government. So I think he is obviously full of shit.
I celebrated my 19th birthday in jail because I was fighting it my whole 18th. So by the time I went in and said, fuck it, I said, what did they want? 30 days and then they dismiss it off and you'll never see this case again? Great. They expunged it off my record. It doesn't exist. They only found out because of the civil suit. The civil suit is public, but the criminal, you can't find it anywhere. Wow. I even went to the court to try to pull out the criminal to show that guy that pulled out all the bullshit about me, to show him that the criminal wasn't like the civil, but they had no paperwork. They said we threw it away. And I even offered him, I said, you know what, let's do a lie detector test. So you could ask me, did you rape? No. Did you, whatever you want to ask there. Did you tell them that you got a blowjob? Yes. Like whatever you want to ask me about that night, ask me. And I'll prove to you with a lie detector test that I didn't do any of that stuff. And he said, okay, we'll do it with me. And then he just continued to make videos on me because he makes money off of making videos on me.
Yeah, slandering you and stuff. Yeah.
But him we're taking care of a little bit differently. You know?
That sounds very scary. What do you mean?
This is how children talk. Okay, this is not a real adult, serious person. This is how children talk when they're like playing superheroes or something. Like, oh, we're going to take care of a little bit differently. That's not how serious people talk. So I think it's time that we refresh our memories, like I said, just in case this interviewer hasn't seen these documents. A highly intoxicated, we'll just call the girl H, is repeatedly and forcibly AR'd by at least 3 of the defendants while the others stand by and watch. After being supplied alcohol and marijuana marijuana by defendants Ben Azoulay and Dylan Azoulay, H was forcibly dragged into a bedroom by Ben, who stripped her of her clothes, forced her to perform oral sex on him, and then orally raped her against her will. Ben then proceeded to brutally force himself upon H, beating her and raping her against her will. Other boys, including Dylan and Mayor, that was the third guy that was there, their friend, watched while this was going on, but made no effort to stop Ben. H struggled to keep Ben away, but was overpowered and told not to fight. H attempted to leave several times, but was prevented from doing so. In fact, each time she attempted to escape, she was pulled back into the bedroom and subjected to further sexual assault. After Ben finished ravaging H, he passed her to his brother Dylan, who dragged her from Ben's room to Dylan's room. H repeatedly told Dylan no, but Dylan told her that she had said yes and that she had to have sex with him. Dylan pinned her on her back and had sex with H against her will. While raping her, he bit her on her neck and breasts. Dylan and Ben then flipped H onto her stomach face down, and she was again raped from behind by both. During the rape, one or more of the boys had anal sex with her. After being repeatedly raped by Ben and Dylan inside the house, Ben and Dylan moved H to the couch in the backyard. Upon seeing H lying on the couch, Mayor Vered, taking advantage of H's inability to resist, forced his fingers into her vagina and then raped her. Ben and Dylan watched but did nothing to stop Mayor. While H was being raped and brutalized in their home, defendants Rachel and David Azoulay, parents of defendants Ben and Dylan, returned home from a party, ignoring girls' voices they had heard in the house and backyard. Mr. and Mrs. Azoulay did not check the identities of the children in their home, did nothing to intervene in the party going on, and instead simply retreated to their bedroom. Approximately 30 minutes later, Mrs. Azoulay heard yelling from outside and a girl screaming. Outside, she saw her sons, Ben and Dylan, 3 other boys, 2 extremely intoxicated underage girls, beer cans, and bottles of whiskey and vodka. Rachel Azoulay watched Mayor take H, who she knew to be drunk and underage, out of the backyard through a side door and did nothing to stop them. Ben, Dylan, and Mayor were subsequently arrested and interviewed by police. Ben and Dylan admitted to knowing that H was underage. I thought he said she was in college. Interesting. And highly intoxicated, and admitted having sexual contact with H. Dylan lied to police by initially denying that he had raped H. Incredibly, he told police that he had no reason to rape H because at the age of 14, he had had sex. So these idiots, he admits right here, police said when interviewed, they admitted to knowing H's age. Now he's trying to say that, oh, she said she was in college? Lies. They can't just make shit up, okay? You can't just make shit, even though this is a civil case, you cannot just say, oh, police said this. This is what they said when they were interviewed by police. You can't do that. Okay, so let's go back to that last sentence. Incredibly, Dylan told police that he had no reason to rape H because at the age of 14, he had already had sex more than 40 times, okay, and could get sex from any number of girls whenever he wanted. Sounds exactly like something they would say.
I could get almost any girl to come hang out with me and be on video just to say that she was with me. Andrew and Tristan don't need to rape anybody, even if someone accused them of rape. It's just some woman that wants money out of them.
Ben and Dylan also informed police that they had watched Mayor rape H. Oh, so Ben and Dylan informed the police that they watched Mayor rape H. So they're admitting that there was rape there. All of a sudden, nobody raped anybody. That's what he said in the last interview. The last time he talked about this was, oh, nobody raped anybody. But now, in these documents, they admitted to police that they watched Mayor rape this girl. Ben was prosecuted as an adult. Dylan and Mayor were both charged as minors. Ben admitted his guilt in open court and was convicted on the charge of violating Penal Code section blah, blah, blah with a minor. Dylan also admitted his guilt and was convicted in juvenile proceedings on a charge of violating Penal Code whatever. Rape of an intoxicated, unconscious person. Okay, so I also want to read what nurses said. So when she escaped, so this girl didn't just go to a party and then come up with this crazy story, these crazy allegations later on down the road. No, she went immediately to the hospital, and this is what the nurses said. Okay, H escapes and is rushed to the hospital by her parents. At approximately 5:05 a.m. after this party, Richard and Judy, the parents, receive a phone call from H. She was crying and asked her parents to come pick her up on the corner of Dory Place and West Hills. Richard and Judy arrived to find H still intoxicated and vomiting. H had bruises on her legs and told her parents that she had been raped. Richard and Judy brought H home and then called 911 immediately. Paramedics responded and H was transported to the hospital. H was examined by a trauma nurse who found evidence of vaginal and anal tearing, bite marks, and bruising. Okay, so she went to the hospital immediately. Right after this, they called 911 after they brought her home at 5 a.m. How could doctors and nurses find evidence of vaginal anal tearing, bite marks, and bruising. Hello? And by the way, this also proves that she was a virgin. So his story about her sleeping around all these guys, she was also going to meet up with guys later that night and have sex with them. No. Hello? Like, he's not a woman, so he doesn't know. But obviously, if you're just having regular intercourse, regular sex, you're not going to have vaginal tearing, okay? Vaginal tearing happens if 1, you were a virgin, or 2, you were raped. So everything that he's saying in this interview is a lie. But also, he brings up his child, okay? And he's trying to make this interviewer feel sorry for him, feel bad for him, like, oh, poor him. Basically, it was this whole story. Maybe I can play a clip here, but I don't feel like watching it. But
from that moment, I never touched her. I couldn't look at her. There was times that she was coming and, trying to do things with me. But like, I would never initiate it. Most of the time I would say no. Eventually I told her, I said, we're living like roommates. So until he was 1, I stuck around. But 2-3 months after, my ex called me and goes, come here, I gotta talk to you. And I said, okay, where are you? So I arrived there. She sees me, she hugs me. She tells me she misses me. She tells me she's gonna die if she doesn't spend the rest of her life with me, that she's gonna leave her husband. I go, I'm sorry, there's a problem. She goes, what? I have a woman at home. She goes, okay, let's kick the bitch out. I said, it's not that easy. She's pregnant, about to have a son. She fainted. She fainted right there. And I had to take her to Tarzana Medical Center to get checked out, make sure she's okay. And then I told her we can't be in touch, but I loved her to death. So imagine, I was dreaming about her every single night, waking up in the middle of the night, looking back, seeing a pregnant woman, thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing? I want to be with her, but how do I even leave this one? If I leave this one, she's going to say I did something to her. She's cuckoo. So we built a plan. I get rid of her, she gets rid of her husband. We said we're going to die if we're not going to be together. We were really nuts about one another, like different level nuts. I went home and had a conversation with Kate, that's the mother of my child. I said, look, we're like roommates. And I don't know how to explain to her, because I don't know if something's going to fly. Let's take some time off from one another. She flipped out, started throwing things in the house. My son Donovan is on the floor, freaking out.
He's like 1 year old at this point.
He's less than 1.
Wow.
It was like 10 months. And then I go to her, I'm just kidding, baby. It was just a joke. It was just a joke.
Because you knew it was going nuclear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking nuclear war.
Yeah.
So she told me, look, we already go through the courts, all that. We're paying lawyers. Let's just end it all. Drop the case, dismiss it. We know when you're coming, when you're going. You take care of him. You send me money for food. Like, we know what's happening. We know when you're coming, when you're going. Like, we don't need the courts to be involved. Stupid me believed her. And I said, okay, you're right. So I called in and I said, look, I'd like to dismiss the case. Told my lawyer to dismiss it. Then I got on a flight with Donovan back to Ohio. Donovan was with me here when I dismissed the case. Pretty much removed me from everywhere. Blocked me on social media. I sent the sheriff to her house. When the sheriff arrived, she told him, I have 100% custody over my son. If he wants, he could take me to court.
Wow.
And after I went through the first 2 years with Corona and COVID and all that, not being able to get a hold of the courts and finally getting him back and then losing him again after having him for a year, that destroyed me. I had 2 choices. I either go there and kidnap him myself and kill her and him, or I disappear and go find peace. And that's what I did. I went and I found peace. Because in my mind, I played that image of, what if I killed him? How will that end? Donovan doesn't have a mom. Eventually he'll find out. I know he loves his mother. How could I hurt his mother? But she took him away from me and he needs me. And one of the biggest reasons she wanted me away was because her boyfriend, Tommy, at the time, my son said that Tommy yelled at him and hit him. And also that they take showers together and Tommy's naked. And there was also a picture of Tommy kissing my son on his mouth on Facebook. So I really wanted to hurt them. I remember it like it was yesterday. What if Tommy is touching him the wrong way or yelling at him or hitting him and I'm not there? Or if I'm just going to hear the stories later? My son was everything. I contemplated of killing them or dying, so I couldn't bear the pain.
He's basically saying that he fell in love with this girl, his ex, that was married, by the way. So he decided to leave his baby mother and his son, his family that he started, to get back with his ex who is married. Now he's like trying to make him feel like, oh, I wanted my son. I was thinking about killing everybody, like being a family annihilator or something because he wanted his son back. But that's not what happened at all. She has a restraining order on him because allegedly he beat the shit out of her. So here's what John Bravo posted on his channel. He also got a kid in the Midwest, that's like 7, and the mom won full custody and has a restraining order on him. Like, you can't make this stuff up. No, you can't. And still we have idiots like this, and I really don't want to go hard because this is how you deter people and you get people to not listen to what you have to say, is by attacking them and going after them and calling them names. So I don't really want to attack this guy. I just want to ask him to please listen and look at the evidence. This is not the criminal case, obviously, because those are sealed, but he is claiming that those documents were thrown out. It is so convenient. Isn't it convenient for him to say that they were thrown out when he is the only person that can have access to those documents, him and the victim? So it's just so ridiculous to me that people are buying this bullshit that he's spewing when we have statements from the doctors and nurses who examined her after this happened. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a psycho, okay? I'm not one of these people that say like, oh, believe all women. I understand women lie. I completely get that. I get that women lie. But when you have evidence like this, okay, 2 cases, obviously she showed up to the criminal case. That would make sense. It seems to me as though she got that out of the way and she was like, I'm done with this. I never want to see this guy again. Therefore, I'm not going to show up to the civil trial. That would make sense to me. That would make sense as to why she didn't show up. And don't you think if she were after money, she would have shown up to the civil trial? The only way she would actually get that money? It just upsets me that we have guys out here that seem like normal people, nice guys, whatever, and then they're believing this bullshit. I see, people roasting him, which is fine. It's hilarious to me that he's getting roasted, but I just don't want to be on here calling him names, doing all this stuff. If he continues to do videos with Azoulay, then yeah, he deserves it. But I'm going to give him a chance here because I think they just recently met on that podcast. So I'm going to give him a chance to do the right thing because I just think he's ignorant and doesn't know. But anyways, guys, let me know what you thought about this. Please let me know if you think I'm going too easy on this guy too. That could also be the case. Maybe I'm just being too nice to him. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Take care.